Hi, I'm Jen Kobrick. I'm a holistic family consultant with the Consciously Parenting Project, and today I'm going to talk about screen time. That's right, I'm picking the small topics. So this is always a hot button issue for parents, and right now I know a lot of parents are feeling a lot of guilt, worry, fear, shame about what's happening right now with their kids, maybe even themselves, and screens. So let's unpack some of that. So usually the question that people have is it too much? Whatever activity or amount of time their kids are spending with devices, the question is usually, is it too much? And so the first thing I want to say is that this is not normal times. So whatever happens now does not mean that that needs to continue happening in your regular life. Kids are resilient and relationships can always heal, and nothing that you need to do now to get through this crisis is irreversible. So that's the first thing that I want to say, because I know that a lot of parents are really worried about, oh, normally we had this routine and it didn't involve a lot of video games, and now my kid's playing a lot of video games, and are they ever going to stop? And, whether or not what they're doing now is a problem does not mean that what they're doing now will be the same as what they're doing when the world is happening again and they can see their friends and they have their normal activities and you have your normal routine back. So that's the first thing that is really important that I want to name. And then the real crux of this issue is this topic of addiction. And a lot of people talk about screens as being addictive because we see changes happen in the brain that are similar to the changes that happen with addiction, with sugar, with alcohol, things like that. So we, as a culture, are quick to blame the thing that someone is doing that is resulting in this unhealthy dynamic. So we say the screen is addictive, or we say the sugar is addictive, or the alcohol is addictive. And the real question is why? Why does someone, whether a child or an adult, why are they using this thing that can show these changes in the brain? Why are they using it in a way that is not serving them? Because some people play video games a little bit or a lot and don't have any problem stopping, feeding themselves, holding a job, interacting with people. And some people spend not even a lot of time on a screen and find that it makes them irritable, or they can't sleep properly, or they, stop having interest in other things that they otherwise enjoy doing. So it's not about the amount, it's about the why. It's about why someone is feeling the need to cope in that way. So the question to ask is, what need is being met by the activity on the screen? So some of those needs can be really adaptive, can be really beneficial. So someone could be having fun, someone could be getting socialization, someone could be meeting needs for connection. And we as adults are doing a lot of that. That's what you're doing right now. You're meeting some of your needs for information and connection. And that's what we do in healing story circles and other activities with the Consciously Parenting Project, is we meet some of those needs for socialization and contact and communication and connection, community, all of those things in a digital format using a screen. And that's adaptive. That's a healthy behavior. And someone can also be doing things that are not so adaptive. Someone could be, for example, avoiding feeling hard feelings, because when we're really deep into something, that is releasing neurotransmitters that make us feel good, it's easier to not feel scared or sad or worried, to push those things aside for a while. It doesn't mean they're gone, but we don't feel them while we're getting the dose of neurotransmitters and while we're engaged in something that's helping us push those things out of our minds. So if that's the case, whether for you or for your kids, then we talk about, when does it become a problem? And like I said, that depends on the why and on what's going on outside of that in your life. So just like we would talk about with adults, we would think about, for example, alcohol use. For some people, having a drink every day is not a sign of a problem. For some people, having a drink once a week or once a month is not a problem. For some people, having one drink ever is a problem. And everything that can be used as an unhealthy coping mechanism is that way. That for some people, hours and hours of video games or hours and hours of social media isn't going to be a problem because it's not negatively impacting their life. It's not interfering with their ability to connect with other people, to take care of their physical needs, eat, sleep. It's not, and it's not causing them to dissociate from feelings or problems or thoughts. And for other people, even just a little bit might be a symptom of those problems. So it's not about the amount, but about the why. Why is this happening? So once we've thought about why and about what needs are being met and whether it's a problem at all in the first place, and if we think it is a problem, if we think that it seems like our child, for example, I'll use what's been going on in our house recently, was that my son was wanting to play more and more and more video games, and in particular, he's really into Minecraft. And we don't have a problem with him playing video games per se, and we don't have a problem with Minecraft per se, and he does some really incredible things in Minecraft. And the pattern that we were seeing, though, was that anytime he would feel a little bit worried or anxious, at the time he was really struggling with this transition in the way that we have our lives set up and how much time I'm working, how much time my husband is working, and the pattern of who's available to him and when was changing. And so he was basically avoiding coping with how hard that transition was by wanting to spend more and more and more time playing Minecraft. And so the problem wasn't the amount of time per se. The problem was that every time it stopped because he needed to go to the bathroom or eat something or sleep or respond to a question from one of us or something like that, all of the stuff that he was not thinking about came flooding back. And so where we go from there is that we think about, okay, the need here really is for connection and reassurance and to feel safe and to know that even though this transition is hard, that he can have those big, hard feelings and we'll be there with him and he'll be supported unconditionally, and then he can move through them and into the new pattern and be fine. And in order for him to have space to do that, though, he needs to actually confront what's happening. But there's some really important things to keep in mind when you're thinking about that, because it doesn't work to say you're cut off, turning off the switch, pulling the plug, and now you better, go in your room and don't come out till you stop crying. because that's not going to teach our kids anything healthy about how to deal with those feelings either. That's going to teach them to isolate, to dissociate, not to connect in difficult times. So the first part is our work. We have to figure this out for ourselves before we go try to bring our kids into it. So the first thing we need to think about is there another way to meet those needs? Is there another way to meet those needs that we think would be more beneficial? And am I modeling other ways? Because if I'm modeling coping with my anxiety about this situation by sitting on Facebook all day, but then I'm telling my kid that they need to go out for a run to manage their anxiety, they're probably not gonna think I'm saying anything useful. So the first thing is always start with ourselves, right? Are we modeling appropriate adaptive behaviors? And if we're not, then what do we need to be able to? What kind of support, what kind of help do we need for that? And so the next question is is there another way to meet those needs? Am I available to hold space for what my child needs right now? And the answer right now may be no. And that's why I started this with what you need to do to get through this crisis does not mean that you can't ever come back and repair it later. Because you need to be available to help your child process what comes up for them in order to be able to help them cope in another way. And what supports do they need? Maybe they need more support than just you, especially if you're dealing with a lot of your own stuff right now. And especially if they're older, like teens, maybe a little bit less interested in getting this kind of support entirely from their parents. And you may need a lot of space to process all the stuff that comes up for you as you're helping your child process, and even to gain some tools and knowledge to be able to help you with that. So it's really important to make sure that everybody has all of the layers of support that they need to be able to make a big change like this. So then the question always comes back around to how much. And like I said, there is no one right answer to how much time doing any one activity is helpful and is meeting all of those needs for fun, creativity, connection, all of the things that kids are learning and skills they're practicing, all of those things. And how much is, or in what circumstances is it, dissociating and avoiding and not dealing with hard things. And the answer really is about connection and understanding of your child. And the more that you connect with your child on a regular basis, and the more that you deepen your understanding of them and their needs, and the more that you all get support for all of that, the more that you will know and be able to pay attention to their clues about which it is. And also showing up with curiosity, being curious about what it is that's going on for them in any given moment, and about what's coming up for yourself in those moments as well. And also trusting that you can always course correct. If you try this approach and it seems like, like it's not working well, you can always adjust. We don't need to come in with the right answer and the perfect answer. And your kids are going to want to be involved with this too. And the more that you involve your kids in the problem solving conversations and in understanding their own needs and how they're getting their needs met, and what they're looking for, the more they can help come up with solutions that work for everyone. And the more they'll be invested in the solutions and in anything you may be asking them to do differently or changes in the plan. All right, so we talked a lot there about a lot of layers to the issue of screen time. And I'm guessing that you probably have questions or comments about that. So feel free to comment on the video if you have questions or comments about that. And you can also reach out through the Consciously Parenting community group on Facebook, or by email through the Consciously Parenting website, which is consciouslyparenting.com. And we also talked a lot about needing support, about you needing support and your kids needing support. And so I want to invite you to come to the Consciously Parenting slash COVID-19 page to find a lot of options for support. There's some audio recordings there. There's Healing Story Circle calls, which are a really great space to get a layer of support for yourself and to process your own stuff that's coming up. And there's options for one-on-one support as well. There are people there who work with teens and young adults as well as with the parents. So definitely reach out for the support that you need to be able to help make adjustments if adjustments need to happen in your family, or for reassurance that everything is going just fine. If your instincts, because you are the expert on your child, if your instincts are that that their screen use is just fine, then there is no there's no one answer for every family, but we're here to support you in finding the right answer for your family. So subscribe if you want to see when I have more videos up, and hit the notification button if you want to get emailed about them. And come join the conversation in the Consciously Parenting community group and get some support on our website. And take very good care, and I will talk to you again soon.